Right, and we're on to week 7. And week 7 had lots of stomps, lots of series that were not particularly close. 4 of them finished 2-0. So yeah, this should be a quick one honestly, because a lot of games are very rapid, decisive victories. So let's just get to it. Today is the lightning edition. We start from chuva against Aliss. This was game 1. And let's immediately get to it. Chances switches out, switches in, Sing lands, heal up, sleep sucks Starmie, double edge revealed. This is kind of rare. Double edge Aggie I think is slightly less popular than it used to be. But yeah, it almost does something here, but then chuva reads the explosion, and the game is already uphill for Aliss, because, well, chuva is just a Pokemon up. The Executor slept and then exploded the same Pokemon, and now Aliss has a sleeping Starmie, and chuva has 5 healthy Pokemon, so chuva is winning. I think this kind of line is very dangerous for little reward, because even if the explosion does land on Chansey, you're still just playing a 4v4. So it's a bit of a high risk, low reward move, so not a great line from Aliss, and gets punished for it. So now we see what goes on afterwards. Lax on Lax, seems standard. Reflect, no crit, Body Slam once, Cloister on rest, this is great. Chuva is starting to really pile on pressure now. Aliss tries to wake on Blizzard. Obviously, you know, you can take 33% on Sleeping Lax, it's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. So maybe should have gone Chansey or Starmie immediately, but it's fine. Starmie comes in, one sleep turn burnt, the second, but doesn't wake, so now Lex comes in, and on this Chansey, on this turn the game ends. The game just ends. Chuva is too big of a lead, he's playing 5 against 3. It would take real effort from Chuva to lose this at this point. Like, look at Cloister, full HP Cloister against Tauros, Snorlax and Raidon. Like, it's just over. Chuva goes for Reflect, and then EQ. I don't get this. I think you should either just EQ straight off and just sack, or Reflect and then rest. I don't get what this mid ground was meant to hit. But okay, I guess maybe you have you should have the same odds to leave these 2 Earthquakes. I don't know. But either way, chuva gets Tauros in on a double on Starmie, and then Body Slam on Raidon, and now he's happy to Blizzard because he knows that his Cloister is just going to win at this stage. So Body Slam, Hyper Beam just for damage, because again, the least risks you take the better. So Hyper Beam immediately ensures that you get some 50% off on Tauros. And this is just very routine from here, especially when it's revealed that the last is Jolteon, so once Raidon is out of the way, explains the Tauros sucking itself to damage Raidon even better, no? Because there's a Jolteon here that will just win. And yeah, you think, why are you showing this? Well, game 2 was pretty much the same. Chuva got a massive lead in the start. This time it's because it was a Gengar mirror, and chuva had Psychic Gengar, and so Aliss missed a couple hypnosises, and Gengar died. And when you lose a Pokemon immediately, and then you get hypnosis on your chance immediately after, it was a 6v4, and Aliss had Articuno, and chuva also had Cloister, so it was just really not close. This best of 3 lasted 8 minutes in real time. So yeah, it was a demolition. Chuva got some things his way, obviously, the crit on Chansey, and game 2 the hypnosis misses, but He got himself in positions to win with a bit of luck, and he got that luck. I think Aliss also didn't do herself much favor. Game 2 maybe not entirely her fault, because, you know, you should probably just hit the hypnosis most of the time, but game 1 definitely already was a disadvantage, so yeah, not much to say. One player played well and got lucky, one player played unoptimal and got unlucky. Complete stomp. It happens. Chuva continues his good campaign, Aliss continues her unimpressive campaign. No shocks here. Now we move on to Serpi against Koalacance. Serpi won game 1 by virtue of Koala thunder waving turn 1 and then just being sleep blocked for the rest of the game. And then also Serpi had Executor Starmie. He was playing Alakazam Executor Starmie, and Koala had a Rhydon. So that was a tough matchup, and it was, I think, poorly played at the start. Early Thunder Wave is extremely dangerous. Serpi saw it happen last week against Friend of Mr. Golem and said, you know, if he does this again, I can beat him. And he did it again, and he beat him. So good prep from Serpi, bad prep from Koala. We get to game 2. Game 2, we have this Gengar mirror, and Koala gets the hypnosis off, and Serpi's like, okay, I go Chansey, let's get my Sing off. Except, Serpi does something clever here. He does not rush the Sing, because he realizes that this Gengar will be sleep sucked, and this Gengar is not actually threatening. Like, if you Ice Beam this Gengar, if you paralyze this Gengar, you can just kill it. It's not actually sleep blocking you. If you have some patience and you get some turns right, like you can just straight up kill this. You are in no rush to Sing it. And so this is what happens. Serpi Thunder Waves the Gengar and just plays this very slow. Softs up to make sure it doesn't die to Hypnosis. Then trades one Ice Beam just in case Koala went back to Gengar to scout Sing or something. And now once he knows that Koala is staying, he Sings. And now Chance is asleep. I know this is massively advantageous for Serpi again, because he has 5 healthy Pokemon, and Koala has 4 healthy Pokemon and a paralyzed Gengar, which Gengar is an extremely shaky Pokemon. He's still rescuable, like you explode this on Chansey, you get 1 for 1 and you play a 4 against 4, like you're fine. But it's definitely advantage for Serpi here, I think. So Tauros comes in and immediately pressures Body Slam on Starmie, no para, but Serpi just goes back to Chansey, and this is fine now. Again, this Chansey can try to wake, but every time you try to wake, you invite Tauros, and Tauros will eventually break you. So we see Serpi go Gengar on Lax, trying to scout the moves. There's an ugly Lax crit, but Serpi has time to rest. Zam comes in, but Zam Chansey has T-Wave, so he's not really happy to go for this. Yeah, he switches out. Chansey comes back in again. Serpi gives it a turn. I'm not sure if I would have done that, because 70% is still pretty healthy, and I think the dangers of waking up are probably a bit worse. But, I mean, if you look at Koala's team, it's actually still completely unparalyzed. So Serpi is actually not in a rush at all. Like, he can continue playing extremely slow and then maybe even letting the Chansey wake up. Because once this Chansey wakes up, not only does it have to fear Sing, it also has to fear just the regular Ice Beam. Like, Ice Beam is extremely strong here, after this Chansey wakes up. Like, you threaten Freeze on everything, and like, Snorlax you can switch in on Sing, but on Ice Beam, but you cannot switch Snorlax in on Sing, so if Snorlax catches a Sing, that's bad. And even if you switch Lax on Gengar, mixing up my Pokemon a lot. Even if you get a switch in of Lax on Chansey's Ice Beam, Serpi still has Gengar, and presumably this has no EQ, because EQ was not clicked earlier when Serpi went Gengar. So yeah, a position that is getting better and better for Serpi, but he does have this Alakazam to address, and T-waving it would block his leap. So if this Chansey wakes, then it could actually be a problem. but nevertheless, advantage Serpi. Okay, and we see Serpi go like a Zamir. Presumably, again, he doesn't want to force a T-Wave here so early, and yeah, as a matter of fact, he switches around. Yeah, okay, now he decides to T-Wave, but Koala goes for Chansey, and now is the point when you can just start Ice Beaming. Yep, okay, finally it's woken up, so Ice Beam lands. Now Sing is a threat, but Ice Beam is also a threat, because this Gengar has a limited lifespan, so... Okay, Soft Boiled again, because it's free. Like again, an explosion from this HP, Chansey lives it easily, so it's not really a problem. Now Serpi tries to catch Explosion anyway, because this Gengar is about to die, but Koala doesn't pull the trigger, and now his Gengar is really low. And now this is a real problem. Because look at Ice Beam again, it's free odds on everything. If Lax comes in, it's little threat. Sing is a threat as well. It's just complete dominance from this Chansey, and I mean, you have an Elegant Dam, but do you really want to Sleep Sack it? Because this Dam is good. You don't want to be forced to Sleep Sack it if you have a choice. So, a tough position for Koala. Serpi here, he does this recover. I don't really love this recover because he's still healthy enough to switch into Zam. And by getting T-Wave here, he gives himself more odds to be locked later on. I think he was safe to just switch out that turn. Okay, now finally Serpi pulls the trigger on Sing and it lands on Starmie. And now Koala goes for this very aggressive play, this Tauros. And the reasoning behind this Tauros is that if Chansey FPs, you have probably Hyper Beam, an opportunity to make real progress. And if Tauros does not if Chansey does not FP, then almost always this Chansey will soft up, and it will be fine. Tauros can just switch out. Chansey is not that troublesome. Now that Sing is out of the way, you can just go Zam probably. So that's the reasoning, but it is bad reasoning, because even if you do get this scenario, you still have to win the mind game. Like if you lose this Hyper Beam mind game, like you just get your Tauros paralyzed. And that's what happens. And now you are in extremely precarious waters. Like this is just a very bad position, because in the long run, Serpi will have a Tauros that is healthy, and Koala will have a Tauros that is not healthy. And so now Serpi can even heal Chansey. So the body slam damage doesn't even stick. It's just very, very bad. Credit to him, he finds a turn to switch in Tauros on Gengar by baiting it in with Lax and doubling. But like this paralyzed Tauros is not scaring anyone. Like even if it gets a crit pat on Starmie, which is the worst possible outcome, you still just recover. You're fine. It needs a lot of luck to get anywhere. And so Serpi can start this process of waking his Lax up and slowly winning. And I will accelerate this because I've already explained the mechanics of the position, and it's just a lot of positioning. And yeah, this is the one danger, Zam on Zam, because Serpi had the paralyzed Zam. This was the one way out for Koala still. His Zam had odds to lock. I think it was probably cleaner from Serpi to not risk this and just go Chansey, which is slightly safer, because you need quite a few turns of side drops and crits and, you know, FPs to actually kill Chansey even from 75. So Chansey was probably a bit safer. But nevertheless, Paralysis lands on enemy Alakazam, and Serpi eventually. A lot of scares. Oh, actually, no, he has to switch out. I thought he healed up. I misremembered. Well, even still. Yeah, see, now doing it this way around, now once his Chansey has to switch out, it's like actual trouble. Because, like, your Zam cannot, it's not at full, it cannot answer this. But, well, the thing is, yeah, okay, Koala gets a T-Wave on Starmie as a result, which is some progress, but still, like, this T-Wave on Tauros is so huge. And Serpi can just kind of stall this Zam now. And on Lax he has no problems because he has a Gengar, and on Tauros he has no problems because it's paralyzed. So all around, pretty much a deadlock. Koala has very little ways to make progress. He has to try for some luck with Tauros, doesn't get it. and slowly but surely Serpi will squeeze all life out of this position. Rest. Snorlax is back. Serpi can even wake this up. Yep. And now Gengar is alive. And there's a real problem here. I'm not sure why the Nightshades, like, you can just... I guess he didn't want to waste a T-Bolt PP, but... Yeah, you just fish for 2 crits in a row here. Like, this lacks... Yeah, that's about the best outcome you can get. Oh, I guess Nightshade for more damage on Sam, maybe, but that's extremely minor. Now, this Gengar can explode, but it's fine, probably. I mean, now Zam is looking a bit dangerous, but Serpi has already woken up his lags. So this Zam is not really scary. Gets a T-Wave, which is, you know, not unlucky. But no, look, I mean, this 17% like a Zam is not holding anything. And Serpi even just goes for the self-destruct. And yeah, I mean, now this is just very bad. Serpi can explode lax. And now Gengar. He explodes. Okay, this is just finesse. Probably, actually, one thing I thought when I was watching this game live, these 2 explosions with Lux and Gengar, he probably didn't need to do them, because like the position was so locked in his favor that I think just slow play was okay, was completely okay. But I mean, he pulled them off and he got them well. Like this is just extreme finesse, exploding on Chansey, switching. And now it's just over. I mean, Tauros cleans. Starmie, maybe if it got an instant wake, it could have saved Koala. But there's no instant wake here. There's no crit, no freeze, no anything. It's just over. And Serpi gets this 2-0. And, well, I think this series showed that Serpi just has more experience playing at the top level. He's a cleaner player in these long, drawn-out endgames. And he's also a cleaner player in terms of prep, because in game 1 it was completely a prep victory. So I think it just shows that there's a reason why Serpi was retained for 10k and Koala was only botted mids. They're both new promising players, but Serpi is further along the way, I would say. I would not be surprised if in a year or 2 Koala reaches him, just because he plays more and improves more. I think Koala is an extremely talented player, but he needs to clean up a lot of passages of his game to get to a truly top level. And so I think this series showed a very evident gap between the 2 players, but it's not to take away from Koala, it's more so just praise of Serpi, who has become truly one of the better players in RBY at the moment. So Koala, I'm sure I have complete faith in his capabilities to get there in some time, but he's not there yet, and I mean, it's good for him to get this experience in SPL. I think it will help his development as a player if he takes this seriously and really studies why those games were losses. I think he can go very far. But for the time being, Serpi is a clear winner, and he finally turned his record positive, which is great for him. Now we get to my series against Troller, and I will disclaim this series by saying that I felt pretty ill all week. I straight up did not have a good time. I only was able to prep like 1 hour, maybe 1 hour 30. It was not good. And so, I mean, I don't say this as an excuse, I say this to just qualify what you're about to see. Because much in the same way I brought up, for example, Hayburner, when he was very tilted and played worse than his usual. I just mentioned, you know, I think it's fair to the players to say when they're in a bad condition that they're playing not at their best. And yeah, I just think it makes sense to mention these things when I know of them. I assume many more players have had many more troubles that I don't know of to explain their bad performances, but whenever I'm aware of something like this, I will bring it up, because I think it qualifies the series as a big asterisk, you know. Don't copy what I do here, because it's probably not that well thought out. Things like that. So yeah, that's how I went into this game 1. I had 3 teams, one that I actually liked, one that I built knowing that it was extremely risky and thinking, you know, I'm against Troller, I will probably have to risk some kind of matchup at some point because he plays everything, so you know. I just went for a bit of a matchup fish and tried to land it. And a third team that is just recycling. And my original idea was open with the risky team and then play the good team and then play the recycled team in game 3. And if I did that, I would have gotten great matchups. But basically, I think in the last few moments of my prep, I decided, you know what, I think I will use the recycled team first, and the risky team second, and then the good team third. And this turned out to be not the right decision, because I had horrible matchups. As you see, Chansey on Jinx. I sleep like Chansey, this is my prep. I don't really want to go and get blizzarded for 55 turns against Jinx. This is saying Chansey lead. Obviously, you're trying to land either Alakazam or Starmie to just get a quick swing and be up some tempo. But that's not what happens, obviously, against Jinx. And my whole idea is that even if this Chansey switches out to get Sing later, it's still not that useful to Sing at Jinx, because Jinx is not a real Pokemon. I mean, she's just garbage. She's a piece of garbage that doesn't do anything to Alakazam or to most of my team. Well, actually, no, I have an Executor, so she's kind of useful, but not that useful. I'm completely happy to let this Jinx live and just spread T-Wave. And, okay, actually, on Chansey I can try to wake my own. And I do that. And the reason I can do that is because this Lux, I think, was for attacks, right? Yeah, this Lux is for attacks. And so I'm like, I can just take damage on this Lux and explode it and move on. So I can try one wake on Chansey. But the problem with this is that I get crit here, which, you know, is not unexpected. But now, if Troller wins a Hyper Beam Mind Game, he can potentially kill me. Now, this is a hard mind game to win, because I could totally have Starmie in the back. And you would get T-Wave on Tauros. So, you know, it's a tough turn. It's a very risky turn. Because no matter what, if Troller gets it wrong, he loses his entire Tauros. The safe play is for me to just go Starmie. Which I don't have, but he doesn't know that. So, yeah, he has to take a bit of a risk. I mean, this is a team I recycled, so perhaps he did look at my previous Sing Chansey teams and figured that one of them didn't have a Starmie, but I don't know. I mean, my general point here is that Hyper Beam is the riskier of the two options, because the safe play for me is to switch out. But Troller just reads me. I do the risky play thinking, you know, he will cover the safe play, and no, he covers the risky play and he gets me. And so when the matchup is bad, Jinx and Chansey, but not only that, and you get red with Hyper Beam, things are uphill. So now I just say, okay, I still don't want to T-Wave things necessarily, because of the potential wake, but I decide that at this point I don't really have a choice. If I don't T-Wave, he just has too much momentum. I don't really have Tauros switchings left, so I can't wake my Chansey really. And so I decide, you know, sleep is not happening this game. Let's just play this low and T-Wave and see where we get. And I almost locked the Starmie. Not quite. 1 FP, maybe I could have gotten back in this game. But Serpi lives, and so now, okay, now I can maybe try to wake this Chansey, because now that my Zam is paralyzed, I'm not under threat of Lovely Kiss anymore. This is a big thing. I can just Zam on Jinx anytime, and so my Chansey being awake is actually impactful. It's sleep locked, it's completely sleep locked, I'm never landing Sing or anything, but at least it's alive. It can T-Wave. That's the use of this Chansey. But I immediately double it, because again, I have to do something to try and get back in this game, and this seemed like a safe turn where you would just make the obvious play and not risk anything silly. So I go for a Zam double, and I continue trying to pressure this. Now I got a special drop, and I reveal Jolteon. And I double kick, because I think I have my team is Executor Tauros here. So I think if there's a Raidon, I have switch-ins, and I can maybe slowly whittle it down with double kicks until you know, because I have Executor to switch in on Raidon repeatedly. So maybe with double kicks, maybe with a few crits, I can actually still bring that Raidon down and win this matchup. But he goes Chansey, and so I figure maybe this is Zapdos last. Maybe he went for a bit of a dangerous team. Because, I mean, if you have a Raidon, you probably go Raidon, right? Well, we'll see about that in a second. He just softs up. I switch out because I don't want my Jolteon to get T-Wave. That would be very bad for me. Now I double Jolteon again, because again I have this pressure on Starmie. And so I'm like, okay, if he has only Chansey as his switch-in, and this is, say, Zapdos last, then presumably he will not want to repeatedly switch it on double kick, because one crit, two crits, it can get very bad very fast. And so I'm like, okay, let's just assume that this is not a Raidon based on the past interaction, because I kind of have to. If this is not Raidon, then what is his best option to try and handle this Jolteon? Probably to risk a double kick on Starmie and T-Wave, or maybe to switch on Chansey, but you know, I mean, it's a mind game in my mind. But it turns out it's not really a mind game, because this is Raidon after all, and he owned me earlier on. Oh, actually I go for T-Wave. I thought maybe I went for T-Ball to hit Starmie, but no, I went for T-Wave to hit Chansey, right? But okay, I mean, either way, Raidon wins against both, and now I'm in trouble. Not so much because of defensive pressure, because I have a Raidon, I have an Executor, and that Executor has Rest. So the offensive pressure of this Raidon doesn't really scare me. What does scare me is the fact that my Jolteon has a much tougher road to actually breaking, because I need to, you know, guess right between double kicks and everything. I mean, my luck at Zam is actually good here, because if it pressures Starmie, it can maybe force a T-Wave on Chansey, and that would make Jolteon's mind games a lot easier, because I don't have to worry about trying to T-Wave Chansey. I can just double kick and it covers both Chansey and Raidon. So that would be ideal. But my Zam paralyzes twice, including this was a T-Wave turn, as I say with a smiley face in chat. I T-Waved on the leg switch-in, but it didn't go through, so that was my one way out, and it doesn't really land. I go for a desperate counter, he scouts it, but I mean, I'm fine, I can just heal. This Chansey, even if it doesn't land counter, it always is useful because it stops counter from killing me. And now my Zam, which was my way out, decides to FP again. And now this is very bad. I mean, I have a Tauros. There's always chances when you have a Tauros, but he gets the mind game again. I mean, this is a safe play for him. He can obviously also switch in on Body Slam. But I mean, I try to make a read and the read doesn't work. And now, okay, now I still see this is why this is powerful for me. Even on this situation, he wants to go Jinx on anything other than counter and just Lovely Kiss, because he has a free Lovely Kiss. But here he can't really do it when I have counter threat active. And so on every switch in, I know that I can just heal up or even sing. This is sing on the scout. Like that's huge. Like this is why counter sing is powerful. You're very exposed to many things, but you have this dynamic against Snorlax where he has to click a move to stop counter from coming through, but if he clicks a move, he allows sing. So this is why this set is powerful, and it finally worked out. So I mean, for a Chansey that only has Sing, Counter, and Ice Beam to land sleep against paralyzed Jinx and Starmie is really a miracle. But okay, maybe I still have chances. I go Tauros because again, this is my one hope of putting pressure on his team now. But I Hyper Beam again, thinking, you know, again, if I win Mind Game, maybe I get clean Jinx. If I don't win the Mind Game, crit on Starmie is fine, and FP here is fine. But I get neither, so, you know, I keep getting questionable luck. I get crit, sure, why not? And now my Jolteon is just in an extremely tough position, where it needs to somehow break Chansey. I get a cool switchback on Rhydon. But yeah, I mean, I need to get so many turns right to actually wall break with this. I get an FP, which is nice. Now I T-bolt because I imagine he might sack to just or try to T-wave on predicted double kick. But no, he doesn't. He plays it safe. But it's fine because I have this egg. And this egg is actually stun spore. And so this egg can actually do the paralysis for me. Which is nice, but the problem with this chance is that I still have no switch-ins to it really, now that it's paralyzed. Like, my Jolteon can break it, but I can't freeze it anymore. So I don't have a threat on it, other than Psychic drops. So that's the line I go for now. I want to try to Psychic drop this into switching out and then pressuring with Jolteon, and the next time it switches in, maybe double kick can kill it. So that's my idea, but... I mean, if this FPs I can kill it. Oh, I can kill it. That's great. Psych. Oh, but he doesn't even go for it. He just goes for this. And the problem with this is that now his Rhydon actually kills my Executor. So I can't really afford to kill this Chansey as much as I would want to, because his Storm can heal. His Rhydon can just come in and kill me. So, I mean, arguably, maybe. Killing it was still the play, because then when Tauros comes in, I mean, if Rhydon comes in, I go Chansey, and I can just Ice Beam down, and, you know, maybe... But, see, the problem with that line is that on Chansey, he always has this Jinx with Lovely Case open, so giving that Jinx turns to switch in is not good, but I mean, resting with Executor also does that, so there's really no winning for me. I thought this maybe had odds with FPs, and it does have odds with FPs. So okay, I get the best of both worlds actually. And here I'm kind of shocked that he doesn't go Jinx. Because like, Lovely Kiss is open. I guess the odds, I guess he prefers to go for it on Chansey, which is safer, because this could be, I mean, I've revealed 3 moves, this is probably Explosion 4th. But he doesn't know that for sure, so, I don't know, tricky. I decided to go Jolteon. Okay, I got some breaks to try to fight back, but I've already lost my jam to stuff. So, it's a tough position. Okay, this time I actually called the sack properly. So, that's cool. But now there's a Rhydon on the enemy team, and I'm ill-equipped. I correctly predict Body Slam with Chansey. So I get some damage off. But this is still... even double kick crit doesn't kill here. So... Now I have to really work for it. He can sack Lax. So my idea here is that I cannot really go egg on... Like if Jinx switches in on Executor, I'm in trouble. Because Lovely Kiss is open and yeah, it's just not pleasant. So I want to kill this Snorlax with Jolteon instead. Because switching Executor on Rhydon is fine. And switching Jolteon on Jinx is much less fine. So I want to kill things with Jolteon wherever possible, and this is one such place. So now Rhydon comes in, and now I switch Executor. And maybe if I got lucky a bit more, this could have been fine. But I don't. He has Body Slam. He paralyzes me. And now I have to double Jolteon on this Jinx, because again, if I let this Jinx come in clean, I'm in trouble. And now, well, he can lose this game still if he goes Rhydon on double kick and he gets crit. He has very real odds to lose this game. So I imagine that he will stay with Jinx and fish. That's the play I imagine, and so I T-bolt to you know, maybe crit, maybe FP. But neither. And he goes for Ice Beam, which is safe. It's safe damage. It's not Lovely Kiss, which if Lovely Kiss misses, then he's really in trouble. Ice Beam is safe damage, and it brings me in Tauros range. I don't really think... I don't know if I like this, because you're still relying on Rhydon at the end of the day, but... I mean, it makes sense to go for the safe damage, so that now Tauros threatens you as well. And now I double kick, because I imagine that he's rock sliding. And I imagine that going Executor always loses. I have to say this was probably an error. I probably should have played for no rock slide and just go an egg. And you know, if I die, I die. But if this has no rock slide, then Executor can maybe actually play. It threatens Psychic, threatens Rest, threaten Stansport even, so maybe Executor can actually still win from that spot. But I don't go for it. I didn't think of that line. Maybe I still had a slim chance if I went right on EQ here, but I don't, and then he reveals Lear. And now I can't win anymore. My idea is to Stansport and then rest, and maybe on FPs I can survive this right on with enough HP to then explode Tauros. But he has Lear, so that doesn't matter. And yeah, I just die. So honestly, given my shaky prep, given Jinx only Chansey, given Rhydon on Jolteon, I think I fought very well. I think I put up a good fight here. You can point to many turns where I got red. You can point to a few turns, less so, but at least a few where I read him. You can point to bad full paras on both sides. I think personally mine were worse, because the moment this Zam died, the odds immediately were super low. But you can argue both ways, I think. So I don't know, I'm not particularly unhappy with this game. I think for the garbage matchup, for my low ability to preparate, for my opponent who is Heroic Troller, and I don't need to say any more than that, I think I did fine. Obviously I'm not happy with the loss, but I look at this game and I'm like, yeah, I tried, you know? It's one of those games. And so, yeah, that's my feeling about this game. In game 2, I brought my risky team, and my risky team got completely owned. It's a boom spam. It has Submission Gengar, which landed on Chansey and crit it. And so, my one stupid tech almost did it. But the problem is that my plan was to just explode both Gengar and Snorlax extremely quickly and try to get into an endgame where I'm 3v3 maybe. And it turns out that when the opponent has a Gengar, exploding extremely quickly is a problem. And he just ate both of my explosions with Gengar. And it was bad, it was horrible. I had a Moltres in the back, and I was able to find that turn to Agility. And a few turns to Fire Spin. And maybe if I got a bit luckier with Moltres, I could have cleaned. But we're talking like, I needed to get like maybe 10% odds for that Moltres to hit everything, so I'm not really upset at that. I'm upset at my low time to prep. I'm upset that I was feeling unwell during the week, and I wasn't able to come to this match as prepared as I would have liked to. But I think I did my best for my condition, and no regrets really. I mean, it's Troller. If there's one opponent I don't mind losing to, it's Troller, so say it's okay. I was hoping to beat him, obviously, but, you know, we don't always get what we want, huh? Of all the losses this season, this is definitely the one I'm least upset about. Because the one against Serpi was my fault. It's just completely my fault that I didn't manage my energies correctly leading up to the game, and I showed up completely unfocused. The other three, I think I can point to a lot of points where I got unlucky. This one is the only loss where I can say, you know, fair enough. I tried and it was better. That's okay with me. So yeah, that's my feeling on the set. I still think this game 1 I put up a really tough fight, so not unhappy with that. I get one better mind game with Tauros and the game is open, you know. So yeah, sometimes the game doesn't go your way. What can you do? Now, Hayburner against Friend of Mr. Golem. Game 1, Friend of Mr. Golem went Friend of Mr. Golem mode and completely locked the shit out of Hayburner. It was honestly unfair. Yeah, I mean, that's what Friend of Mr. Golem has been doing all season, and it continues, somehow. Yeah, he must have good karma. I have no other words to speak on the game. It's insane to me how lucky Friend of Mr. Golem's season has been. Okay, let's just show game 2, okay? Let's do this. Blitz miss, T-Bolt hit, no crit. If this crits, this is already very bad for A. But okay, he actually wins the Aegg tie, so that's good for him. Now we have Okay, Stormy coming in to Blizzard, and okay, Friend of Mr. Golem Ice Beams it, then Ice Beams again and freezes. I don't know what to tell you, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. I'm not sure how I explain this. So, okay, now without Chansey, enemy Starmie is already a pain, any special is a pain, but Hayburner can go lax and try to, you know, sort of just stare at Chansey, which is something, it's better than nothing. Snorlax FP's a bunch. Hayburner switches out because he doesn't fancy his odds against Psychic crits. So T-Wave comes down. Now he can try to heal the Lax maybe. Okay, cool double. He has to risk Reflect. Oh, he doesn't. He just goes for rest. That's fine. But now, yeah. Okay, this actually works. Unless it's Hyper Beam Lax. If this is Hyper Beam Lax, Hayburner is in huge trouble. But he really has no other option. I mean, he's so far behind, so he goes for it. He gets the rest. He gets a turn burnt for free as well on the recover. Now, okay, T-Bolt. Now back to Lax. So Hayburner is doing pretty well to get this Lax back in. Body Slam, okay. No para. Predicts recover. Slams again, but EFPs. I mean, the FP count is already through the roof. Another one. T-Wave on predicted switch shot. Another one. Psychic. Okay, finally he rests. Okay, now Stormy comes in. Okay, now the T-Wave predict actually works, but I mean, that was not good. And I mean, okay, Hayburner actually has a Starmie that walls the enemy Starmie, so that's good. Instant crit, of course. Reflect comes up. And okay, this time Friend of Mr. Golem doesn't quite get disgustingly lucky. But I mean, it's still a horrible position for A because he doesn't have Chansey, so you know, pretty simple. One person has Chansey, one person doesn't have Chansey. Okay, now Lax comes in. I mean, this is just the simplest of switch chains. Hayburner stays here and recovers until you would think he recovers until Snorlax FPs and then he gets out, but no, he recovers until he FPs like twice in a row. And Lax just keeps moving as if nothing is happening. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Egg comes in, Psychic, Lax, Body Slam, oh, pressure. Will Chansey FP? Maybe, nope, never. Executor, will Snorlax FP? Nope, never. Stormy comes in, Psychic, huge crit. And I mean, he just has nothing now. Yeah, okay, he goes for Explosion on predicted T-Wave because he kind of has to. Now Persian comes in, slashes. Rhydon, wow. Persian, by the way, I also brought Persian against Friend of Mr. Golem. I think it's pretty good against his scout. He plays a lot of very passive Laxes and stuff. And a lot of Rhydon, which dies to Bubble Beam crit. But why would Bubble... why would they crit a move that actually matters, no? And so... Now Bubble Beam, and now this egg is sleeping, so, you know, it's probably going to be sacks to slashes. But it wakes. And so Hay has to Hyper Beam to try and find a crit. He doesn't get a crit. In fact, it's the Executor who crits. And I mean, what can I say? I mean, this endgame, there's just this 13% Starmie, which is always threatening Tauros. And Hay has to somehow get kills and not get destroyed by this Starmie. But I mean, this Psychic Starmie against Tauros and Lax is just absolutely going to do bits. Hayburner continues to play extraordinarily well. Here he predicts a switch shot and goes to Lax. I mean, this is incredible. That's an insane play, predicting the switch shot to try and get recover. And the dying game. So he keeps himself in the game. Hayburner is playing amazing. Oh, he gets a crit. Wow. Amazing. Incredible. The egg is sacked instead of the legs. I don't know why, because this egg is phenomenal. But okay, me comes back in. And finally, Hayburner, I mean, if he's a god, he goes lax on T-Wave again and continues playing. And if you go lax on T-Wave, you're actually kind of in an even position. Like, not really, but you're getting there. But unfortunately, he falls one mind game too short. And now this position is from the advantage again, because he can just go Tauros and kind of win. But Funk decides to go lax first. And now this allows Hayburner a chance. After this Tauros kills Snorlax, which, you know, 2 FPs, but it will. Now Hay has a chance, because if this Snorlax gets to reflect and then rest, he's basically out. The odds are not fantastic. Tauros has 2 crits and there's 2 FPs, so you know, you need to dodge quite a few 25-20% on the Tauros crits and the FPs, but it's possible. Friend of Mr. Golem somehow has found a way to bring this into a position where he can lose. But why would he? Why would he ever get unlucky? I have no words. I mean, I have no words. This has been Friend of Mr. Golem all season. I don't want to dig into his play too much, because, you know, he's trying. I appreciate people who are trying. But I mean, this is just disgusting, because people will open the spreadsheet and see 5-2 and think, oh, this guy is good at the game. But he has been playing one of the worst people in the pool. Easily. Like, he lost to Koala last week. One of the only series where he had neutral luck, he lost to Koala, who has been a mid-season buy for 3k in an emergency. Like, I mean, Friend of Mr. Golem is the nicest guy, but he's not playing good RBY. So it's extremely irritating to me that my record is 2-5 and his record is 5-2. You know, they should have been swapped at the very least. Like, they literally just should be flipped. It's extremely irritating to me, but it's the game, I guess. This year is like this, apparently. And we get to the last series of the week. They only want to go to 3 games. Game 1, it was a fairly even game until in the end game Mako got pretty lucky and just rolled him. And then in game 2, it was never close. Nails got lucky very early on. So, 1 game apiece where both players played alright, and one got lucky in the end game, the other got lucky in an early game, and now we're 1-1 and we're entering game 3. Let's see what happens. It's a Jinx, it's a Starmie. Okay, T-Bolt crit, but oddly his connects, so that's good. Now, her Tauros gets met with a Cloyster, but there's a Jinx in the back, so this is fine for Mako. T-Wave spreading begins, that's cool. This Blizzard, I don't know what the prediction is here. I don't know why you click this. But what ends up happening is that, okay, there's an Ice Beam. Now there's a Recover. And Mako just gets hit by Sing. And now, I don't want to say that when you see Starmie Cloyster, you should assume Ice Beam Sing's Chansey. But I mean, it's you may as well assume that, because like having another sleeper is extremely uncommon, and you have a paralyzed Jinx, which is like the dream. Like, this is what Jinx is good at, this matchup. Like, you can block this Chansey. You can keep your Starmie awake, you can keep your everything awake. You will have to switch into normals a few times, but you're fine. This is why you bring this team, pretty much. So it is baffling to me that Mako let this happen. But, I mean, now Nails has a lead. Okay. Now there's a Snorlax comes in. And it's a hard body slam. And it's a hard counter. And now Nails is just winning. And, I mean, I'm showing this because at least the things that are happening are the fault of the players. And they're not the fault of the RNG. Like, these are both things that Mako went out of her way to get punished by. Neither of the sleep or the counter needed to happen. again, there's a jinx here. There is a jinx that completely was this chancy. But I mean, yeah, I prefer to show this rather than Luckfests, but it's not a great game either. And now there's a Raiden, and I mean, if you look at Nails' team, Cloyster against Paralyzed Jinx, Sleeping Starmie, Tauros Raiden, and I mean, maybe Chansey, but yeah, I mean, definitely Chansey. But I mean, either way, this Cloyster is about to go in, and it's only a matter of time. And I mean, there is a lot of positioning here. Counter Scout, and eventually boom. Okay, now there isn't even a chance. I mean, this Cloyster is just winning. I'm not sure why Nails goes Tauros first, because it seems to me like the best option by far is just Cloyster immediately, and then finish with Tauros. Because Tauros can actually pressure Starmie. So, and it still beats Raiden, and you know, it beats enemy Tauros after Cloyster chip. So I would just go Cloyster first, but this is also fine. Like, both Cloyster and Tauros kinda just win. And, okay, we see a few slams traded, a crit. Jolteon comes in. Jolteon can pretty much be a sack, but, I mean, okay, double kick. This Jinx should leave a T-Bolt, but Nails just double kicks again, which is probably correct, because I mean, this Jolteon again is pretty much a sack. He T-Bolts again. Again, this Jolteon is pretty much a sack. At this point with Raiden this low, it's legitimate to start wondering if this Jolteon is worth preserving. So, I mean, he does sack Chansey, which is, I think, correct. And now it's just, I mean, yeah, it's just cleanup really. The game is already over. Starmie can be sacked. I don't understand why he went Jolteon. Jolteon was, you know, yes, it's not like it's great against Raiden, but you don't need to risk it. Like, you can keep it for safe revenge killing of Tauros. But no, it gets risked, doesn't really end up mattering, because again, double kick crit finally happens, and okay, I mean, it dies. Now technically, Tauros has an extremely slim chance, but with Cloyster at full, it's very difficult. Okay, Starmie comes in. Cloyster blizzards and explodes. Okay, there we go. I mean, it was just over from the moment Starmie was left, to be honest, but then the counter didn't help, and, you know, everything else didn't help. So, yeah, I mean, that's what happens to you when you run this team, and you let Starmie get slapped. This is a team that really needs Starmie awake. Like, the whole reason for running Jinx Made On is that ideally, in many matchups, Jinx can take the sleep bullet, either block it or at least just absorb it. The whole idea is that to make Raiden work, you need something that switches into ice moves, and especially something like Cloyster that can clamp Chansey down. You really need a Starmie awake to be able to do that. And I mean, if you risk Starmie on Sing, you deserve to lose like this. I don't know what to say. I think Nails deserved this purely because Mako messed up this game. The other two, they both played fine, I guess, but luck decided them. Underwhelming series to close out an underwhelming week. A lot of stomps, a lot of people playing below their potential. There were a lot of good plays as well. I mean, Troller and Serpi played some great sets. So, you know, it's not all awful, but also a lot of underwhelming stuff. These last two series, not great, not the best. But I mean, we're getting in the late stretches of the season. People are starting to get tired. Exhaustion is definitely felt by multiple people at this stage, so it's understandable if the quality goes down a bit. And I think the strength of people like Troller is that for them it's the opposite, since they don't really play RBY until SPL. They just, the first few seasons they're weak, but then they warm up, and by the end of the season they're in full force. And a lot of other players, me included, honestly, we don't quite do the same. Like, having to try hard the first few weeks gets us in pretty burned out spaces by the end of the season. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting, but neither here nor there. Let's just end the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week, as always.